Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Let's just get into the stories. I feel like we have a lot of relationship ones, and honestly, they're all from the Am I the Asshole? Well, not all of them, but every single Am I the Asshole one was like some sort of relationship dynamic. I have a few that aren't, but let's just get into it. Am I the asshole for moving back home after my husband left me, even though I'm pregnant? This one infuriates me. I've been getting cruel messages from my ex, his family, and our friends for the past few days. My soon-to-be ex-husband, Levi, 33 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for a decade, married for 5 years. She has been with this man since he was 23 and she was 18. Let that sink in. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby and due next month. After I graduated, I moved back to his hometown, a major city on the West Coast. I believe it's San Diego because she says it later, with him. I'm from a bigger city in the Midwest, but loved living out here. I thought we were happy. We planned our baby and were so excited. But a few weeks ago, he told me he was going to file for divorce. He said he didn't want to be tied down anymore. He was still young and needed to live his life, etc. Like, I'm already so hot. You are 33 years old, which is fine. You are young. You have been with this girl for 10 years, married for 5. Finally, after 5 years of marriage and 10 years, not saying finally like, oh, finally about time, but just like you made a conscious effort to get pregnant together and have a child. And now you're saying you want to file for divorce because you don't want to be tied down. You had 10 years. Like, this is what men don't realize is so frustrating about them. It's like, what the fuck? And I'm not sure if it's a story that comes up. I think there is a story. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Instead of just filing for divorce before the baby, which would be hard, but there wouldn't be a child involved, a future child, you wait until now. Because here's the thing, feelings like this don't just come up. Right, when we break up with somebody, and I can only imagine breaking up with somebody is hard. Like, the men that I've broken up with in the past, it took me a bit to finally do the breakup. Like, you kind of mull it over for a while. I can only imagine being together for 10 years and married. It takes even longer. How were you in a place where things were good and you decided to finally have a child, and now? Like, oh my gosh, it just makes me break my heart. It breaks my heart. I want to mention, I spoke about in one of the previous podcast episodes, there was a woman who was getting canceled because she said like she felt like a single mom or getting knocked up. I don't remember the logistics, but I remember reading people's comments, and a lot of single women or single moms were offended, which whatever, but a lot of them, and this is what's like so heartbreaking, we're talking about like, I didn't plan to be a single mom. Like, this woman who, this is like probably the most secure person, not like secure in herself, but like, you've been with this man for 10 years. You've been married for 5 years. You finally decide to have a baby. Like, you have to be feeling so secure in that relationship, and then poof. Now, not only is she a single mom, but like dealing with all of this, the heartbreak, like there's so much that goes on. It's like nobody anticipates being there or that happening to them. That'd be like if Carter and I, like, we go 10 years, we get pregnant, and then he wants a divorce. It's like you never anticipate that happening. Oh my gosh. But basically why I'm bringing up the cancellation is because so many women in these comments were talking about that. Like, how dare this woman, basically she was getting canceled because they took it as like a slight to single moms. Again, I didn't even see what she said. I just saw like the rhetoric and the conversation around it. But a lot of the women were obviously like, do you think we plan to be here. Some people, single moms, and obviously like there are different dynamics. I mean, like ways you can become a single mother, but like some of them we're talking like their husband passed, right? Or the husband ended up cheating, or like it's there's so many things that can happen, and it's just like I couldn't think of something worse. I couldn't think like if this happened to me and Carter, like if we have been together, so in love, so happy, and then we decide together to get pregnant, and then he asks for a divorce because he doesn't want to be tied down. Like I actually allegedly would kill him. I would literally, like, I don't think I would have it in myself to stay composed. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Let me keep going. He said there was nobody else, but I know that since then he's been seeing someone. Oh, I can't. He wanted me to move out, but this is my house too. I put down the down payment even. So he's been staying with his friend Lewis. I can't afford to live here on my own while maintaining my lifestyle. Sure, I could make it work, but it wouldn't be the kind of lifestyle I'd want to live, especially with a baby. I make really good money, but still, it's so expensive. I have friends for sure, but not the support system that he does. No family here. So I've decided to move back home, and luckily my company has a location in my hometown, so I was able to keep my job. Amazing. I think that's a wonderful plan. Because here is the other thing, and this is like what kills me about these situations, or any, even if the couple is together, moms do the workload. When it comes to a child, typically, again, I speak as if I wasn't raised by my dad, but most times I obviously know that's like the 0.001%. The responsibility is going to fall on the woman regardless. Like even in a split 50-50 custody, the mom is typically the one setting up the school and doing the lunches and doing the play dates and making sure that everybody's like, I still feel that in a 50-50 situation, the mom does more naturally. And I think it's a biological thing, but like she is now going to be a divorcee, right? A single mom. She needs to do what's best for her to take care of herself and her child, right? I 100% support her moving back home. Like you're in your ex-husband now's hometown. All of his family is there. His friends, like, yeah, you've made friends at this point, but like, that's not your home base. You need your family, especially, it'd be one thing, again, if you're in a couple and they're still married and have a child and like the parents are there to help, but you have two parents and like she can hand off her child to the husband and like she's now on her own, right? And like she's not going to use his family as the support system. Like go home. I 100% would do the same thing. My parents have been so supportive. They're divorced and hate one another, but are now combined in their hatred of Levi, which is interesting to see. They've secured me a nice rental home in my city and refuse to let me pay them back, saying that I need to save to buy my next home. They're paying for my divorce lawyers and my co-pays at my new doctor here. They're paying because I'm doing the right thing for my baby and they're happy to help. My mom is about to retire and even wants to watch my baby while I work after my maternity leave. So it's been an ideal situation for me. That's amazing. And God bless those parents. God bless those parents. Levi is furious. He's claiming that I moved to get back at him and am going to try to keep him out of our baby's life. Ow! The other thing about men, it's me. How could anybody with a brain not understand? She has nobody in San Diego. She came there because that's your hometown. Her family is in the Midwest. That is like the most selfish, like, open your eyes, buddy. I moved back to get back at him and keep him out of the baby's life. No, she's now a single mother and has to support herself and a child. Hello. Oh my gosh. I explained very clearly that I couldn't afford to be a single mom in San Diego, but he doesn't believe me. He's told everyone I moved back to get the upper hand on custody. That's not why I moved, but yeah, sure, it's definitely a plus. His job doesn't have any locations here, and they won't keep him if he moves. He could get another job here, of course, but he says that's too much to ask of him. I would do unspeakable things to this man. What? Actually, what? I told him I'd be going for child support once the baby is born, and he told me I needed to make up my mind. Could he be a dad or no? I told him he was going to be a dad regardless, and if he doesn't want to move here, then he would be a dad by paying child support. I don't think I'm the asshole. I think I'm doing what I have to do, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say to all these people texting and calling me and telling me I'm keeping Levi's baby from him. You're hearing from his friends and his family, and of course they're going to support and be loyal to him, and God knows what he's telling them, right? Which even still, like, I just feel I'm very objective. If this were my son and he did that, or they got a divorce and she decided to move back, it's really unfortunate, but it makes fucking sense, especially this baby is not even born yet. The most work you have to do with a child is from years 0 to 3, 4, 5. Not to say it's not work once they get older, but like, it's not as if they got divorced and the kids are like 10 and they're like very set in their life in San Diego and the kids are in school. Like, she is staring down the barrel of being a single mom, isolated in a town. Her family is not there. Her like probably hometown friends, like regardless of friends, it's about family. She needs a village. She needs help. Right. And quite frankly, how much can she trust you? She couldn't trust you to like decide to have a baby and not divorce her. And therefore, like, she could stay in this town. Right. And some people, everyone has a different opinion on what is best for a child. And I understand that people have different opinions. Some people would say that the baby needs their dad, right? And some people would agree with what I'm saying, and what she's saying is that she needs a village and she'll figure it out without him being there. Maybe he can travel there and see the child. But I think what people don't understand, and of course, kids get fucked up in childhood, that's a given, right? Even in the most perfect of seeming homes. However, kids are so resilient. I think we forget that kids, like, I think about my situation, all I knew was divorced parents. Like, some people think, for example, very religious people, they think that divorce is like the worst thing ever in 2 homes. Oh my gosh, this kid's gonna be fucked up. I think number one, I'm perfectly fine. But number two, like, of course, some people see the divorce happen. Some people got, their parents divorced when they were 10, 11, 12, high school, whatever. My parents divorced when I was 2, and it was all I knew. And by the time I can like recollect my childhood, it was great. Like, that was just my reality. My parents were divorced. They had different partners or were single or whatever at the time. They were cordial. They did what they needed to do. They handed us off. They went to our sporting events and sat together because they're fucking grown adults. And that's it. And it was like a blessing. It was amazing. I'm so glad, number one, I never saw them fight. It was never like weird. They never were like, there was never any drama. Like, there were 2 separate houses, and me and my brother, like, that was just our norm because we were kids and like, we're resilient. I feel like sometimes people try and overcompensate, and like, here's another big thing I think about motherhood, and especially for single moms, but moms in general. If the mom is not taken care of and doesn't have help and is drowning, that, I think, in my opinion, would be way worse for the child than not having a dad. Or vice versa. There are people that grew up with the dad without a mom. Like, obviously my dad had most custody of us. I have 2 very good friends that literally did not have dads at all. they are fine. Right. Again, because kids know what they know. Their life is what their life is. And I think if everybody just loves the child, it's good. If the child is fed, taken care of, and loved, they're fine. Right. But if she stayed in San Diego and all she had was her ex and the ex's family and her friends, but like friends aren't going to help you with the baby. No offense. Maybe here and there, but like when you have an infant child, she's going to have to pay for daycare. Like she's going to be drowning. And I feel like that stress will then rub off of her onto the baby, where she could go home, be around her family. They're going to help financially and with watching the baby. The mom can then breathe and work and know that her baby's safe and taken care of. And that is better. Those are just my opinions, but I could believe because this is men. They only think about themselves. Like the fact that he's making it like, you're trying to get back at me. Like, this is so much bigger than you, buddy boy. I'm trying to take care of our child that you essentially left me with, right? Anywho, let's keep going. Am I the asshole for paying off my daughter's student loans, but not giving the same amount to her brother who didn't go to university? I love this shit, finances, but I've never thought about a parent's perspective and this. Like when parents pay for college, or let's say they help, I don't know, with a certain particular thing, but the other child doesn't do that, what that looks like. Like I never thought about this. My husband passed away unexpectedly in early 2024 from a heart attack. I received a life insurance payout and have been managing it carefully. Recently, I used a portion, around $60,000, to pay off my daughter's student loans. Now my son is upset, saying I'm playing favorites because I did not give him the same amount of money as his sister. Back in 2005, my daughter was 18, very bright, but dealing with depression and unsure what to do after school. I pressured her hard to go to university because I thought it was the best path for her. She wasn't ready, but went anyway to please her father and I. She ended up doing history because it was the most tolerable thing to her, and she just wanted to get a degree to get us off her back. Does that not feel sucky saying that out loud? Knowing that your daughter did this thing because you wanted her? I get it. I do, because as a parent, like I'm going to want my child to do what's best for their life and career. And I hope they do go to extra school and university, if that's what it is in 18 years or 20 years, because I feel like it could change. But you straight up know that she did it just because you guys wanted to. I don't know. That's hard. That is actually hard. I'll be nice. That degree didn't lead anywhere. She worked low-paying jobs for years and accumulated significant debt as her loan value increased due to indexation, similar to interest. At 30, frustrated with her employment prospects, she went back to university and got a law degree. In our country, law can be done as an undergrad. Oh, interesting. She now has a good job in that field, but her debt was basically double because of the degree she only did because I pressured her. I've always felt some guilt over that, and now that I'm in a position to help, I chose to pay off her loans. Edit. Because I forgot to mention this, she was in the first few years of her law job paying back more than the minimum than she has to in an attempt to pay them down faster, so was trying to help herself. Oh, because people are probably saying she's a spoiled brat, but she was like going above and beyond to pay off the loans. Amazing. Her younger brother never went to university. He's not academic, has never been very smart, always hated school, and dropped out at 15, and I never pushed him the way I did her. He's been working as a postal delivery worker for years and has no student debt. When he found out I paid off her loans because I accidentally sent him a text message meant for her, he demanded the same amount in cash. Well, that was a big fuck up because he shouldn't know. Oh, I struggle with that because I also don't like keeping secrets, but he really didn't need to know that. Obviously, it was an accident. It is also crazy that he demands the same amount because I do think there's a big difference, like paying off student loans and then just giving the other child $60,000 to what just like blow through. Oh, that is really tricky. I dated a guy in my adult life, and basically their grandparents did very well for themselves. They were like so many generations of going to school and doing the certain profession, and they would give the kids money for like schooling. Like he was kind of doing online classes because they were paying for it, but if not, they weren't. I mean, I get that. I feel like that's a normal thing. I feel it is hard though. They also like had a huge inheritance, and if you got married, I think you got it. Or if you had like a job, because he like didn't have a job. I mean, we won't get into the legalities, but if not, I think they get the money at like 30 or something. But I think that was all the same for everybody. Yeah, I don't know how. Obviously, like I don't have an inheritance coming, and my family never paid for my school. So I've never myself been in these dynamics. But Carter, for example, his parents paid for everybody's undergrad. Yes. They are covering everybody's undergrad, but nothing like the law school, they did not cover, obviously. I think that's fair. I think that makes sense to me. It's like, no, we want to pay for like helping you continue your education. Now, if this guy, I think you say to him, like, if you want 60,000, I'll give you the equivalent for like going to school or a trade school or online education or something that they can specifically put the money towards. But I don't agree that she should just give him $60,000, right? But like he can go get a law degree. I know she's saying that he's not academic, which also, here's the thing. I know people like probably look down on people who talk shit about their kids, but like, you know, if your kid is smart or not. Like that is kind of mean to say, but like she said, be so fucking for real. My son is dumb as hell. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. I told him that I've done this specifically because it's an educational expense. Giving him cash will feel to my daughter like a punishment all over again. Well, who gives a fuck what your daughter thinks? Her brother gets fun money, and all she gets is the degree I pressured her to do paid off. Oh, you do give him money? Oh, yeah, see, I will say, my brother in college, well, I don't think maybe he didn't need money, but my dad was attached to our Wells Fargo accounts because he set us up with those early on because he knew that it was smart. As much as Barrett doesn't know about money, he knows that your credit score is important, which is amazing. And therefore, he started us on a credit card in high school. We like never used it, but it's good to start it. That way, that's when your credit history starts rolling, right? And my brother and I, until very recently, never kicked our dad off. He like never had a say in our money, but they started as like junior accounts and then kind of stayed like that. And we just had a checking all through college and beyond. And like, I wasn't going to go to Wells Fargo to kick my dad off. Like, I didn't really care if he could see. I know he looked because he's kind of anal about money. He knows like he loves to save money, but my brother, I think what happened is my dad would see that my brother was struggling financially, not struggling, but he was a double major, chemistry and chemical engineering, and quite literally didn't have time to have a job. My brother did not have a job in college at all. I think maybe in the summer, once or twice, he would come back to Bismarck and work, but like, no. And I don't blame him. Like, I cannot imagine what a chemical engineering degree and workload is like. But my dad always kind of gave him a hard time because I did work and like I also got a job at 15. My brother never did a job in high school, I don't think either. And again, like he didn't need to and it was fine. I just kind of had that mentality in me. And my brother like works now. Like it's not like he's lazy. He literally was just like in school and blah, 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 blah. Sorry. However, I think my dad would see that he was like low on money and would give him like $1,000, right? Like maybe once a semester or whenever it was low. But then he would also give me the same amount, even though it might have technically been used. Well, like I wasn't spending money and therefore my dad knew I wasn't like blowing it on something stupid, but my dad was really big on equality and just making sure that whatever money he was giving one, he was giving the other. And every once in a while in college I would get like $1,000. It wasn't that often, but I'm like, oh, Brandon's hurting like my dad, because then I knew, because my dad wouldn't give me a heads up until I saw him and he'd be like, yeah, I sent some to your brother, so I sent you some. So low key I like didn't want my brother to get a job, because a nice little cash injection every once in a while was, it wasn't often at all, but I'm dead. You know what's really interesting? Brenna, this isn't about you. I'll bring this up in a different episode. Let me keep going. And honestly, I don't think a lump sum would be good for him. He doesn't manage money well and tends to spend impulsively. Am I the asshole for saying no, given that I did this to correct what I feel was a mistake, pushing my daughter into university before she was ready? I mean, you're not the asshole, but I would then offer the same thing, because that is crazy. Like, what if he, what if he's thought about going to school, but he doesn't have the money and therefore hasn't? Like, I would then turn it into like, I'll help you start a business. Not that he should be a business person, but like something that like your money is specifically going to, not just like fun money. I think that makes sense in my head. I don't know. It sucks that he found out, because he shouldn't have known that. And grandma, you should have done better. Not that she's a grandma, but she must be older-ish. Her daughter was 18 in 2005. So that means that woman is 38 now. Oh, I guess, yeah, probably almost 70. Oh, that's hard. I think that you just offer it in a beneficial way towards something that would be a business or educational or something like that. I think that's all you really can do. Okay. Oh, this next one is really hard, you guys. Am I the asshole for not honoring my wife's dying wish? 6 years ago, my wife passed away after a short illness. The day before she passed away, it seemed as though she may pull through. She said to me, "If I die, you're not allowed to date." I laughed and promised that I wouldn't. Both of my daughters were there when she said it. That night, things went horribly downhill and she was gone by noon the next day. I've spent the last 6 years raising my girls and finally sent my youngest off to college in August. Oh, that breaks my heart. That literally, I could cry. I cannot imagine. I have been involved in a few support groups for people who have lost spouses for the last few years. And earlier this year, I really connected with a woman who lost her husband around the same time. I wasn't looking for a relationship, but we have been on a few dates and I've been trying to keep it concealed, at least in the meantime. We ended up going to a restaurant and our server was one of my older daughter's friends from high school. She must have called or texted my daughter, because last night my daughter called to scream at me and basically told me I was cheating on her mother and I had no right to dishonor her request of me. Oofta, 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 oi, oi, oi. This is going to be like, everybody needs therapy in this situation, because this is like such a complex thing. Even without the dying request, I can imagine a young girl who lost her mom while she was in high school, roughly, or college. I don't know how much older the oldest daughter is, but like, I cannot even imagine the grief. Everybody carries grief differently, and dealing with that, that's really bad. I am pretty furious. She called me like that, and I had to hang up and told her I'd call her in the morning when I've had some time to reflect. Now, all I can think of is how horrible I am for this. I'm 45 years old. He's so young. They lost her so young. Oh, that's so sad. And I need companionship. But I don't want my daughters to think I'm spitting on their mother's grave. My wife's sister also texted me to tell me that my wife's request was unreasonable and unfair, and that her family is not going to judge me if I move on, and she would talk to my daughter about it. I don't want to ruin my relationship with my kids over this, but I am so damn torn. Am I the asshole for not honoring her request? No, you're not the asshole. I mean, he's 45 years old. He's going to be single until he literally dies. She said that as any woman would say. And also, nobody anticipated that happening. And unfortunately, your daughters were in the room, which it's so much deeper than that. I don't deeply think that the daughters are going to be like, oh my gosh, she made you promise or not. Like, it's so much heavier than that. It's so much deeper than that. It's like they have one mom. And this is in any circumstance, even when spouses don't die, when like spouses split, oftentimes the kids have a hard time warming up to the new partner because like that's not their parent, and it's weird and it's different. And the girls, it's not like they have any time like to understand his position, especially our dynamics with our parents. Like your parents are like, that's it. They are your mom and dad. They have no other like real reason on this earth. And obviously I don't mean that, but like when you think about your parents, it's like you don't think about them at their job, in their own interpersonal, like with their friends. Sure, you might know their friends, but like they are your mom and your dad, and you cannot see outside of that, especially when you're young, right? And like they don't have time to understand. Like if they were 40 years old, they would understand, right? Because you've gone through life things and you're like, oh my gosh, he's only 45 years old. Yeah. Do the daughters actually think he's never gonna date again? I mean, like, that's crazy, right? Like it's been 6 years. Again, like you also can't put a timeline on that, but like he has his own life. Now the daughters are out of the house. Like what the fuck is he gonna do for the rest of his life? Just like sit around and wait for them? Like he needs to live as well. And that's a relationship. Like we all want a relationship. It doesn't mean he's spitting on her grave. And I get it has to do with the promise, but oh my gosh, that is like probably one of the hardest things I can't even imagine. I just think the girls probably need therapy or just a therapist to help them work through that, like to help them understand like your father, yes, he is your father, and it's so hard to like see outside of that, but he is a 45-year-old man who lost his wife. And also just to help them with their grief. I have no idea what that's going to be like. Like you don't even understand until you lose a parent, especially so young. Like I think that would be good for them in general, and maybe they already are. And I also think that it would be good for him to have a therapist. I don't think it needs to be the same one, but to also help him work through being okay dating, because I can imagine you feel so much guilt now, especially because your daughter's freaked out, but like already without that, like having lost a spouse that you never thought you would lose and then dating again, I'm sure he's in all these support groups. Like I can't imagine what that feels like. I think it would do them all good, and then it would help, like the therapist could give him tools to navigate the situation with the daughters, because also like, yes, I think the daughters are not being irrational. I think their feelings are their feelings. And again, we have no idea what that feels like, or maybe you do, but like, I think if we're pinning people in right or wrong, I would say they're in the wrong, right? Like I think he should be able to date, and I think it'd be good for him, and he has a life, and he has hopefully 30, 40 years left of his life, and like he needs to do what's good for him. Like the daughters are grown up, they're in college, and they're going to get married eventually, they're going to have their lives, and it's like he needs to have his own life as well. But I think just like therapists would be good for everybody in this dynamic. Let me keep going. There was an edit. He just kind of gave a little update. Edit. Wow. Thank you for all the comments. I want to clear up that when she said it, I did take it as a joke. And I think she was joking as well. Oh, the wife. Yeah, of course. I mean, like, if a woman is literally on her deathbed being like, you can't date anybody ever again, and like you say that to like lighten the mood. Yeah, of course. I mean, that makes sense. The issue, as pointed out by a few, is that my kids were present and took it seriously. They were 14 and 12 at the time. Oh my gosh. She had been hospitalized with severe pneumonia and had been on oxygen for 2 days. All signs were pointing to a full recovery, and it was during this time she made the statement. None of us expected her to go downhill that quickly overnight. Okay, I can't read that. That's literally going to make me cry. There's another update. I called my daughter this morning and asked her if I can come to her campus for breakfast with her. She goes to school an hour away, so it isn't a bad drive. Apparently, my sister-in-law did talk to her last night and told her she was being irrational and unfair and that I deserve to be happy too. My younger daughter, who goes to school several hours away, also told my older daughter it isn't a big deal and I'm allowed to live my life. We had breakfast and walked around her campus for a few hours. We talked about her mom and how much we all loved and missed her. We had some laughs and cries, and I told her, I'm like literally tearing up right now. Like, this is so sad. And I told her I would never try to replace her mother, and anyone I date would have to get along with my girls. She is still upset, which I acknowledged, but she agrees it's unreasonable to expect me to go the rest of my life alone. She apologized for her reaction and genuinely felt bad that she acted that way. I suggested we go to therapy together to work some of this out, but she's really busy at school, so wouldn't be able to until winter break. I feel like I left with her understanding and really hope she won't hold this against me. I was not even looking for a relationship, especially at a support group. We met in March, went on our first date in July, and have only had 3 more since. We have not been intimate, so I'm not exactly sure even what's going on. I appreciate all of the responses. Oh, yeah, that's, I think, just therapy. Nobody's like really in the wrong. It's just like a very sad and hard situation, but you get through that together. Oh my gosh, you guys, this next story had me literally cackling, and it might not be that funny to you guys. But the way this man wrote this, I like can't. And I also feel, you guys know my thoughts on virginity and like saving yourself for marriage. Not that I think it's a bad thing, but I just like don't really agree with. It's interesting. I watched Love Thy Neighbors, which I told you, and I was talking to Carter about this because they were raised in Baton Rouge, very, very Christian. And basically, you're told that you're going to go to hell if you have sex before marriage. And it's just really beat down your throat that essentially sex is bad, but then all of a sudden you're supposed to get married and then love sex. It's just on the psyche, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I get what they're trying to do and what they're saying. And yes, STDs are bad and like pregnancies outside of marriage. I understand what they're trying to do, but it's like, think about all of the other things. And it's like, you're telling a horny teenager that like they can't do that. Like Brooke Nader was on there. She said that she would like, of course, like make out with a boy or whatever. And then she'd go home and she'd pray to God and be like, it'll never happen again. And then it would like the feeling guilty about it. Like, I think that's just so bad. I think that's so bad. But anywho, let's get into this next story. I literally am dying. Am I the asshole for telling my wife I don't feel special that she saved her virginity for me? So, my wife, 28 female, and I, 30 male, have been married for about 6 months. My wife was a virgin before she met me, and I was not. Things are good overall, but the other night we were having one of those deep late night talks, and she asked me something out of nowhere. She said, "Does it make you feel special that I saved myself for you?" Normally, I'd be more tactful, but I had been drinking, so I didn't even hesitate or think. I said, "Fuck no." Never cared about that kind of thing. Besides, I hate purity culture. It's just funny because I can imagine, it's like when you ask your partner, like, do you love me? It's like, she asked you, does it make you feel special that I saved myself for you? Like, she's just wanting some confirmation, and he just immediately goes, fuck no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Well, and this is so interesting. I never thought that people like this ended up with somebody who wasn't a virgin, because I feel like that would just create such a big rift. Like, if you yourself cared a lot about purity culture and being a virgin and then your partner wasn't, like, I feel like that's would create resentment. However, it seems to be working. Oh my gosh. I said, fuck no. I never cared about that kind of thing. Besides, I hate purity culture. She got quiet and a little hurt after that. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I just wanted to be honest. I've never cared about virginity or saving yourself. I think purity culture is toxic and harmful, especially to women. And she knew that about me already. I was trying to convey that I love her for who she is, not because she had or hadn't had sex before me, which is actually a very sweet thing. Like, I would love that. Like, but a woman who, or anybody who really prioritizes that kind of thing, like, that's not what they want to hear. But like, from my point of view, I think that's great. It's like, yeah, I didn't give a shit. Like, it would kind of be odd. Well, it would be so fucking misogynistic and like gross if like he loved that about her, like he's had sex but he's like, oh, my wife's a virgin. Like, I think that says a lot about him, actually, because I think that's weirder and way like grosser. Like, oh, my wife has only had sex with me, she saved, and meanwhile he's fucked a million girls. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's really sweet, and I totally agree with the fact that he says that purity culture is especially harmful to women, because I think that's true. I also think that's true because it has so much more to do with the women than it does the man, or maybe not, but it does feel that way. But apparently she saw it as this huge romantic gesture, and me brushing it off crushed her a little. Well, yeah, because that holds a lot of weight to her, right? Like, her virginity, like, that was a big thing. Well, and that's the other thing, like, I don't know, but yeah, this is one of those things, way different, but it's like people who love their birthdays being with somebody who doesn't give a shit about birthdays. It's like, you don't really understand like how much it means to them. Like, it means a lot to them. Like, this purity thing, like her being a virgin was a big part of her life, and like she wanted you to feel special. But like, I agree with what he's saying. Since then, she's been a bit distant, and I can tell I hurt her feelings. I didn't mean to. I was just being straightforward. I don't want her to think I love her less, but I also don't want to pretend like virginity means something to me when it really doesn't. So, am I the asshole for being blunt with my answer? I don't think you're the asshole per se. I mean, yeah, could you have said it nicer? Fuck no. However, I think you just like kind of have that conversation, be like, can we talk about this? Like, I just want you to know my point of view. Like, I know that that meant a lot to you, and I apologize. And like, I understand the place that you're coming from, and that is very kind. And I know that means a lot to you, but personally, it doesn't mean that much to me, because I love you regardless. It like literally that has nothing to do with me. If you had fucked, I mean, don't say that to somebody like this, because they're probably like a literal Virgin Mary. But like, if you had had sex with 10 guys before me, like, it would make no difference. I love you. Like, that doesn't really hold weight to me. I love you so much. You're my wife. I love having sex with you. Like, I love that, whatever. But it just doesn't hold that much weight in my opinion. And I'm sorry that I didn't say that kindly. But I think just as much as like she's kind of pouting and like, oh, you know, like been distant, it's also like she needs to see your side, right? Like, I don't think that's wrong. There's like a little update at the end. Let me read this. Thank you for all your answers, the ones that praised me and the ones that condemned me. I'm going to have a long talk with my wife to make sure she understands how much she matters to me. Part of the issue is I actually didn't understand how important her virginity was to her until recently. I just thought she hadn't had sex before me because she just couldn't be bothered or was too lazy. I didn't know it was a big decision she put a lot of thought into. Oh, well, that's interesting. I feel like you would know that about somebody before getting married. It's interesting. I'm reading the comments. This needs to be straightened out before you two have a daughter. I recommend a shoehorn to help get your foot out of your mouth. You walked right into that one. Not a smart answer. Yeah, of course, it wasn't like the kind thing to say, but I don't think that he should lie. I don't think he should say, oh, it means so much, right? Like, I don't think that's correct, especially if she knew how he felt about purity culture and saving yourself. How you said it wasn't great, but I'm going to acknowledge that you said you already expressed those emotions previously. So I feel like you were seeking validation for not being heard in your relationship. Sounds like both of you need to work on communication skills. Yeah, I feel like this will like kind of blow over. It's not really that big of a deal in my opinion, but what do I know? Okay, next. I keep forgetting to say next. What the hell is going on with that? My 31 female husband, 31 male, wants to back out of his vasectomy over a hypothetical situation. I'm upset and not sure what to do. Just wanting to know if I'm being irrational and being upset and how you would proceed in this situation. Backstory. My 31 female and husband, 31 male, have been married for nearly 10 years and just had our fourth child, 21 and 21, when they were married. I don't know why it scares me so much, but that's so freaky. And they just had their fourth child. They're probably religious. I don't know, like that just... in today's day and age, and of course you can do whatever you want, but I just feel like that's the only, like, people that are getting married young and having a lot of kids are religious. Like, in my head, those two things go together like peanut butter and jelly. Okay, let's keep going. We always said we would have 3, maybe 4 kids max, so we are definitely finished having children. My last 2 kids were C-sections, so my body has been through a lot. We decided once we finished having kids, he would get a vasectomy because, in his words, I will have done enough, which I really appreciate, as I feel like when I'm on hormonal contraception, I'm not really myself, just overall more emotional and unhappy. When my husband went to book his vasectomy, he then said he was worried that it's so final, which I replied, good, we don't want any more kids. Turns out he is concerned about what would happen if I died young and he was to remarry and possibly want more kids with that person. I'm sorry, what? I'm so ferociously fucking sorry. What did you just say? If I die, you want to get remarried and have more kids? You have 4 children already that you would then have to raise. That's what you're thinking about? Aren't vasectomies also reversible or no? Wait, let me look into that. Let's learn. Vasectomy reversal. A vasectomy reversal is a surgical procedure that aims to restore fertility in a man who had previously had a vasectomy. A vasectomy is a surgical procedure that cuts and seals the vas deferens, the tubes that carry sperm, from the testicles to the penis. The success rates of vasectomy reversals vary depending on factors such as the length of time since the original vasectomy, blah, 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 blah. 60 to 90% success rate. Generally, the success rates are higher when the reversal is performed within 10 years. Yeah, they're reversible, which I know isn't always. And I also know that even with a vasectomy, you can get pregnant. Like, that has happened. It's not that final. Oh my gosh, quit being a bitch. And also, that hypothetical would literally send me into orbit. If Carter was like, oh my gosh, yeah, we have 4 kids, but like, what if you die and I want to have kids with another woman? I would literally slap him across the face. I've never slapped anyone, but I would slap him. Oh my gosh, that would make me actually so pissed. All of it. Like, number one, how selfish of you. Like, so I'm going to be, and I've spoken to Carter about this. I'm like, when we decide we're done, he's going to get a vasectomy. Like, I'm not going back on birth control at 30 something years old. Like, fuck that. No, I won't do it. So either we keep having sex and potentially get pregnant, which I feel like you probably won't want more kids after 2 or 3, or you get a vasectomy. And he's like, yeah, I'll get a vasectomy. Like, that is just so simple. I know so many men with vasectomies and they've gone great. And then the women doesn't, like, I've already been on birth control for like 10 years of my life. I'm not doing that again, especially after having kids. No. I'm 2 weeks postpartum, so maybe I'm extra emotional at the moment, but I got extremely upset by hearing this. We don't want more kids. We'd agreed on this for at least the last 4 years. This would be what we do. And now I feel like he's prioritizing some unlikely hypothetical over our current marriage and what's best for it. It also hurts to hear his plans to replace me and just possibly make a new family in general. Yeah, this is a night and day difference from the man and his wife's dying wish to this guy like planning for that. Oh my gosh. He said he thinks he will still do it because he loves me and he knows I want this, but I'm still hurt by all of this and now also worried that he'll resent me over a hypothetical. I obviously still want him to get the vasectomy, as it's what we had discussed would be best for us as a couple, but I also don't want to pressure him into a medical procedure. I don't know how to navigate this moving forward. Not sure if I'm overreacting, but I just feel sad. Also, I'm not sick in any way, and I'm not more likely than anyone else to get sick. Obviously, we don't know the future, but it's not happening anytime soon. It's not like she's on the verge of death where people guessing that. Oh my gosh. I feel like honestly, again, I would recommend a therapist to just like work through just this little situation. I feel like it could be easily overcome, but yeah, you don't want to pressure this man into a vasectomy. It's like a literal medical procedure. But like, yeah, now that he said that, oh my gosh, and like is potentially having doubts, but like that's his reasoning. Like, please, literally, please. I would number one do research on the reversal situation because that's a thing. Like, do you guys not know that? It's not final. Unless there's some sort of vasectomy that can be like final. I'm not sure. However, probably just get a therapist, or if you're like very communicative, just sit down and have like a real long hard conversation about your feelings. And like, sure, you're postpartum, but like, no, any woman would be pissed at that. Like, postpartum or not, I would be fuming at this hypothetical. What if I wanted kids? What about your 4 kids that you have? Oh, you're just going to meet some girl and link up and now you're raising 4 kids and having more? Please. And number 2, what's with the hypothetical? Like, that's crazy. If like, let's say there was some sort of medical, like if you came to me with like facts about vasectomies and how it could potentially be like risky, blah, 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 that's one thing, right? Like, we want to be medically informed, but like, what? Yeah, I think they just need to like sit down and have a hard conversation, and she needs to say like, that really hurt my feelings, and like, that's crazy to say, and like, I feel maybe this is irrational, but it makes me feel like you're prioritizing this like crazy hypothetical over like our marriage and our life and our kids. Like, we don't want more kids, and I don't want to have to go back on hormonal birth control just because. And I think this is the argument, because a vasectomy is like a medical procedure and birth control, you could take a pill. Like, it seems less invasive, but birth control does way more to a woman's body. Like, the vasectomy will not affect this man at all, except for like the recovery and like the immediately after, of course, the procedure. But after that, it's not like he's moody or like having the effects of being on a drug. Like, even though taking a pill or whatever form of birth control seems less invasive, like of a procedure or situation, it does so much to a woman's body. You know what I mean? Like, it's affecting her until she ends taking it, which is probably when she like hits menopause, which is like a long time, right? Who knows how much time? Yeah, they just need to get on the same page, and that guy needs to get a vasectomy. Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. I hope you guys have the best week. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for being here. As always, leave your questions, comments, concerns, stories in the little link at the bottom. If you watch on YouTube, if you listen on Spotify or Apple, you guys can always submit any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. But that is all I have for you guys. I will see you on Friday. Okay, bye guys.